Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com. This week in 1776, the United States Congress made a unanimous declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. They're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. This week, the Biden administration will pretend to honor and respect this document while they investigate and prosecute anyone who actually believes what it says. Washington, D.C. is named after and built around a set of monuments to people who would now be labeled as insurrectionists. But this video is about climate. One of the standard claims of climate alarmists is that the climate used to be stable and we've destabilized it by burning fossil fuels. If the people making these claims spent any time looking at the historical record, they would know that the climate has never been stable. I could write an entire encyclopedia of extreme weather from the distant past. But in this video, I'm going to focus on the year 1780 during the Revolutionary War. This 1912 publication documented dark days in the United States and Canada when the skies were obscured by smoke from forest fires. May 19, 1780 was named Black Friday, or the Dark Day. The New England Dark Day on May 19, 1780 was the darkest day of the American Revolution, a day as dark as night, a day when a candle was needed to see anything outside at noon. There were massive wildfires burning in the Lake States in Canada during May of 1780. It's very unusual for these areas to get large forest fires that early anymore. But if we did have a day like May 19, 1780 now, the press would claim it couldn't have happened without climate change. The Revolutionary War was a time of particularly violent weather. 9 of the 35 deadliest Atlantic hurricanes since 1492 occurred around the time of the Revolutionary War. The deadliest Atlantic hurricane of all time occurred during October 1780 and killed more than 20,000 people. Let's take a look at the hurricanes from the summer of 1780. On June 13, 1780, a hurricane swept through the Caribbean, killing more than 5,000 people. On August 24, 1780, a hurricane hit New Orleans with wind gusts between 160 and 180 miles per hour. The storm destroyed nearly every building on Grand Isle, Louisiana. Then, at the beginning of October, a hurricane hit Jamaica, Cuba, and the Bahamas, killing more than 1,000 people. The following week, on October 10, 1780, the deadliest Atlantic hurricane on record struck. The storm had sustained winds over 200 miles per hour as it passed over Barbados, Martinique, and St. Lucia. Every single building in Barbados was destroyed by that storm. The wind blew so strong that it stripped the bark off the trees. Meteorologists are of the opinion that this effect is produced on wind velocities of over 200 miles per hour. British Admiral Rodney wrote that the wind carried aloft 100 feet the heavy cannons of the ground fortifications. More than 20,000 people died, but as bad as that storm was, there was an even worse storm in the Pacific. The July 1780 typhoon was the third deadliest Pacific storm on record and killed about 100,000 people. The climate was never safe and the climate was never stable. The frequency or intensity of extreme weather has nothing to do with carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere. Joe Biden is crushing the U.S. economy and crushing the U.S. spirit based on superstitions about climate. The climate was not stable at lower levels of CO2, and people who claim it is are simply not telling the truth. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Joe Biden does not have our consent to destroy the U.S. energy supply based on superstition and junk science. My July 4th message is that it's long past time to end this climate tyranny. I'm constantly posting relevant information at realclimatescience.com.